Here we are, Lynn Conway from A Fresh Perspective. We are recording our 15th annual Golden Week call. It's amazing to me that I've been doing this call for 15 years in all kinds of locations, in all kinds of health. Some of you will remember last year I was sick as a dog, and we still managed to do the Golden Week call because I think it's so important for me to be able to connect with you and help you be able to get a new perspective on your business for the year ahead. And I actually want to ask you a question to begin. I want you to think about why, whoops, that's not what I was hoping for. We go. All right. I hope it says on your screen, take a minute to remember why you want your business to continue into 2019. Robin, nod for me if that's what it says. Good. Thank you. I want you to think about why you want your business to continue into the year ahead. Amazing to me. It's already coming up on 2019. I remember, yes, like it was yesterday when we were all worried our computers were going to go down because it was 1999 going into 2000. So 19 years later, why do you want your business to continue? Is it for the money? Is it for the personal fulfillment, the friendships? Is it for the fun that you have because of this? Do you love sharing your product with people? Why do you want your business to continue? Give that a moment's worth of thought. And I want to tell you why I continue doing this. That a lot of people ask me recently if I'm going to retire. And I'm like, why on earth would I retire? Yeah, I know I'm coming up on my 71st birthday, and I still feel strong and energetic, and I still have something I believe is valuable to share, and I love being able to share it with you. I love being able to have you in my life. I love being able to think about you and know you are living the dream of entrepreneurship, which so many people out there want that to be their lifestyle. The millennials are getting old now. I mean, Gen Z started in 1995. So the millennials are in the workforce. They're building their lives. They're getting married. They're having kids. They are getting older. And they're about half of the workforce at this point. And you know that the major wish for millennials is to be able to have their own business. You're doing it. And you are such a blessing in my life. I think about you. I pray for you daily. And you have joined a multi-billion-dollar industry. At this point, it's about $50 billion a year, with about 25 million direct sellers in the United States alone. And that's going up about 5% annually. And a lot of those people join our profession and they realize it's work and they get out again. Because in fact, nobody is successful in the direct sales profession unless they are able to discipline themselves. That's the name of the game here. Self-discipline, grit, determination, persistence. I would say those are the key ingredients to be able to make yourself do what you have to do in order to have a successful business. And in fact, that's been the same for me from the time I got started 43 years ago now. My daughter was just 5 weeks old, and Danny, our son, was 3 years old. And through the years, at all of the stages, I've had to continue to have that self-discipline and self-motivation. And it's funny now, here I am in Hawaii because my daughter's son-in-law and 2 grandsons moved here 4.5 years ago. And they bought a home, and we are blessed to be able to come and visit them a couple of times a year. And we flew our son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter out here. So we were 10 of us around the Christmas table yesterday. I'll tell you, what a blessing. I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it right now because they're getting big fast. Our granddaughter's 8. That's Isabella. Leaf is 7. Wes is 5. And there are more Legos on the floor upstairs. They live right upstairs. You can't hardly walk through the room without like stepping on a Lego, and you know what that does to the bottom of your foot. And if you don't, I hope you don't have to discover it. But there are Legos everywhere. Oh, we built things and we played and we went to the beach and I watched them grow up. And it was the excitement of Santa Claus is coming. In fact, they insisted that Stephen set up his video camera on his phone and record when Santa came and delivered the presents. And oh, it was so unfortunate. Stephen had the recording going and the phone fell over. And so it didn't capture Santa delivering the presents. The kids were so unhappy that the phone had fallen over. But that's okay. Santa came and delivered everything, and they're still young enough that they still believe. And it was so wonderful. Loved it. So this is a blessing. And on this call, I get to share a secret that I learned. I was trying to do the math. I think it's 39 years ago at this point. Oh, and I should mention before I go into the secret that if you are not already getting my fresh ideas, or you're not linked into, you don't have my my company page, A Fresh Perspective on Facebook, I really encourage you to go in and get one or the other. That's how you find out about these calls, how you get the recordings from things that I do. So if you go to afreshperspective.com, on the left-hand side of the first page, you'll see a box that says register for fresh ideas. They're free, completely free. You just put in your name and your email address, and they come 5 days a week. Or if you go into Facebook, just look for my business page. It's A Fresh Perspective. That's my company name. And then, other than my company name, we don't talk about your companies on this call. This is everybody is welcome, no matter what your company is. The lessons that I'm going to share with you today, the secret I'm going to share with you today is universal. It's for no matter what company you're a part of. Okay, so a secret. 39 years ago, I woke up the day after Christmas. My kids were babies. I think Katie was 1 and Danny was 4 at the time, maybe a little bit older than that. Maybe I'm not doing the math right. But we went through what so many of you went through this morning, cleaning up all of the wrapping paper and trying to make sense of all of the toys that had gotten ripped open so quickly, and then helping the kids focus and find what they wanted to play with. And just a total letdown for me, and I know for Dan, a letdown of adrenaline. It's like all of that work, all that stay up until 3 in the morning, making sure things that required batteries had batteries and putting things together that needed putting together, all of that stuff was all over. Weeks, in some cases for some of you months of planning, and it was all over like that. And so the adrenaline totally seeped out of me, and I put the kids down for a nap, and I thought, what do I want to do with myself here? And it was interesting because the company that I was with at the time, a housewares company, had an incentive going to earn a cruise. And it was based on sales, which I had in spades, but it was also based on sponsoring. And I was 3 recruits short. And the deadline was the 31st of December. So 1 week left, basically. And although I was feeling down, I also was motivated to earn that incentive because I'm not a quitter, and I don't like feeling down, and I don't like achieving things that I've set my goal to achieve. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let me make a few phone calls. At the time, it was only phone calls, and phones were attached to the wall. And some people did have answering services in those days, but mostly it either just rang and rang or somebody answered. And you know what? They didn't even know who it was because there was no caller ID at the time. I mean, it was a kinder, gentler time. And so I decided that I would go to my desk, which was a card table sitting next to the furnace in our basement. So, I have a much fancier, more lovely environment for my desk now. But at the time, it was kind of like going to the dungeon to make my phone calls. And I thought, all right, I'm just going to do this. And so I made a list of the names of the people I was going to call. And I started to make phone calls. And you know what? People answered. And I realized that a lot of them were feeling just as kind of down in the dumps as I was feeling. There were a lot of people who had the adrenaline just seep out of their systems exactly the way it had seeped out of mine. For a lot of people, this week between Christmas and New Year's is a time of introspection. It's a time in which a lot of people are looking at the year ahead, and they're assessing what was 2018 like for them, and do they want the next year, 2019, to be better? And what changes are they going to need to make in order to make sure that the year ahead is better? And people were home. This year it's such a blessing because Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Day are Monday and Tuesday. So we have this long stretch in between with Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a nice long weekend in there for people to be home and enjoy their families. And they really can take 6 days off work and get 2 weeks of vacation. 16 days of vacation. If they're a full-time worker, they just have to take 6 days off work to get that whole stretch of time, which is incredible. And a lot of the moms, they are at home having taken some time off of work, really liking being at home with their family and thinking to themselves, I don't really especially want to go back to for some of them, the grind again. And so I was hitting them at a time in which they were feeling open to new ideas. And when I introduced myself, I basically told them that I was thinking about them. That was the major reason for my call, was to say, I'm thinking about you. Yes, I definitely wanted to get 3 more recruits. But my reason was a service reason. It was to touch base, let them know that my business and I still existed, and to wish them a happy holidays, to wish them a happy new year, and to find out how they were feeling about the year ahead. I made some sales. I found that there were a number of people who hadn't gotten what they wanted for Christmas, and that they'd been thinking about something from the products that I offered, and they wanted to trade in the money on their exchange from what they had gotten, that they were like, one of those, oh, thank you, that's so nice. They wanted to trade it in for something they really wanted. I booked some Santa do-over parties with people that wanted to extend that holiday feeling a bit into January and didn't want the fun and fellowship to be over. As my friend Lynn, same name as mine, says, they needed a little me and we time because they've been focused on their family and getting things ready for the holidays, and they needed a little time for themselves. So I booked some parties, and yes, I got the 3 recruits that I needed by reaching out to people. Did I get it all on the 26th? No, absolutely not. But I realized what a productive week that could be. And so on the 27th, I reached out to a few more people, and on the 28th, to a few more people, always telling them that I was thinking about them, that I was committed to providing service in the new year for them, and that I wanted to find out what was going on in their life, if they needed anything from me and my business. And the response that I got was fabulous. I can't even tell you how exciting it was to feel so welcomed. And honestly, I'll tell you, the day after Christmas, a few years ago, we at our home, we got a call from a Nordstrom sales rep. And I tell you this story, and I've told this before on this call, because it's such a great story about how service makes a difference and how service is so rare in our society. My husband had bought a pair of sandals, and they didn't fit exactly right. And we were heading off for the islands. And he had gone into Nordstrom, and they told him that they didn't have his correct size, but they'd order it from another store and get it to him. And he had shared that he was going on this trip and that he needed them before we left the end of the year. And so the Nordstrom sales rep called him, identified herself as the sales rep he had talked to at Nordstrom, and asked if he had gotten his sandals. He wanted to make sure, the rep wanted to make sure that he had what he needed for his trip. And if he didn't, she was going to hand deliver them to him. I mean, how do you think about my husband felt about shopping at Nordstrom from then on? Because that's the kind of service that people don't get, and that they crave, because they want to be able to have that connection with somebody with whom they do business. So the service that you provide, the main reason for you to be reaching out, the golden secret of this week is reach out to people and say hello. Tell them you've been thinking about them. Let them know that you have made a New Year's resolution to provide excellent service. That piece hasn't changed in all of these years, 39 years since my first Golden Week. What has changed is how we reach out. And I want to be very clear about this. All of you who know me well, you know the easiest way to get my attention is to send me a text. You send me a text, and unless I am in the middle of something crazy, you're going to hear from me pretty much right away. And even if I was in the middle of something crazy, you're going to hear from me very soon. That's the easiest, that's my primary language of being able to connect with me. Now, the telephone or Zoom is my primary preferred communication. I want to be able to talk to you. I want to be able to hear your voice, and if possible, see you. Just like for so many, I can see you right now. I want to be able to see you and hear the inflection in your voice. But you have to get my attention first. And text is the easiest way to do that. For many of you, you're Facebook private messenger people. And so yes, if you private message me, I will see it eventually. I'm not a real big Facebook person, but I will get that. I've got it set up on my phone so it pops up into my notifications. So I will see that, absolutely. And there are so many other ways to get a hold of people. For what I'm suggesting you start doing today, and you do today through New Year's Eve, is reach out to somebody and get their attention first. I actually have pre-programmed into my iPhone, I have text replacement settings where all I have to do in a text is type my initials, LC, and it pops up, "Hi, Lynn Conway here." And then if I type TK, it pops up, "Do you have a couple of minutes to talk?" LC, TK, Hi, Lynn Conway here. Do you have a couple of minutes to talk? And then I usually take a second and I touch right after the hi and put the person's name in. Hi, Robin. Do you have a couple of minutes to talk? Somebody got one of those texts from me and they said, you use that text replacement thing. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely did, because that's what I told you I do. So text them first. Text a few people at a time and see who has time to talk right now. Statistically, people are going to respond to you quickly. And it's way, way better than leaving them a voicemail message, which they may or may not listen to. I mean, if I ask for a show of hands here, I believe that most of you don't listen to your voicemail messages. But you do look at your texts. You do look at your Facebook private messenger. So get someone's attention first and set up a time for, and when I say a few minutes to talk, I mean a few minutes. I'm not talking about a long conversation. Your idea here is to keep yourself visible and to let them know that you want to be their consultant or the rep, whatever you call it in your company, for life. You're there for them to help them out with any of the needs that they have, be it purchasing needs, be it needs to book with you, or needs to be able to have something new, exciting, and fulfilling to do in the year ahead. So, especially if your calendar isn't packed for January, that's another huge reason to do this. My team and I, January was always our very best month of the year. Hands down, it was our best month of the year. And our reason was because of the motto that I always used: as January goes, so goes the year. So we always had a bang up January, but there were always people who had a few dates left to fill. And so you can tell people that you have a goal of having whatever number of parties it is that you want in January. 4, 6, 8, 12. I know some of you work like crazy. However many parties you want to have. You have a goal and you have a couple of dates left on your calendar. And you'd like to know if they would like to have some me and we time, some time to be able to get family, friends, people together. And most of your companies offer very special things for January. So you've got a big reason to call. Now let's say that your calendar is chock-a-block. You are already quite full, but you're reaching out to people with the idea that you've opened up a few more dates because the specials the company is offering are so incredible, you don't want to gyp anybody out of being able to take advantage of them. So you're letting them know you are willing to make room for them on your calendar. And, you know, there are people who say, no thanks, just simply not interested. That's okay. You can always say to them, well, who do you know that maybe didn't have as much socialization during the holidays as they would have liked? I know all of us who are busy with the holidays always think that everybody is crazy busy. And that's what they always tell you, right? That's the story. As you're talking to people early, mid-December, they're saying, oh my God, you're so crazy. I can't even talk to you till after the holidays. But there are also people who don't have a lot going on. There are people who would like a little socialization, a little companionship, a little holiday fun. And you calling them could get them to get a group together, kind of a pop-up, impromptu, for this coming Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. If you've got the time, why not give them the opportunity to have a little joy that you can help them with in their holiday time? Remember, your main reason to call is to tell them you've been thinking about them and let them know that you want to be of service. That's your primary reason for calling. You can also share that you have a goal. And the way that I got those 3 recruits in that 1 week was to share. I had a big goal. Some of you might have heard me refer to it as a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I told them, my big goal was to take my husband on this cruise, and I was a little short. So I was checking to find out who I knew that was making a New Year's resolution to have a better income work-life balance in the year ahead than they've had in the year before. And just asking the question and say, like, is that anything that would appeal to you? Have you given any thought to doing what I do? And then putting a chip clip on your lips and just being quiet and giving them time to answer. That was the beginning of my learning to be quiet and giving people time to answer. Because our temptation is, once we ask a question like that, to talk right over them. So just be quiet. And I found that there were people who were making New Year's resolutions and who wanted the year ahead to be better. And that's how I got the 3 recruits that I needed. So whatever your goal is at this point, realize you're offering something, a service that can appeal to people, that can go ahead and benefit from what you have to offer. But you're not forcing, convincing anyone to do anything. You're merely offering and seeing where they are in their life. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to make this happen for yourself. But before I do that, I want to invite your questions. If you have any kind of a question about what I've just said, what is the magic of this? What is the secret of this? How can you implement this? If you have any questions, unmute your phone or hit the microphone and unmute yourself on Zoom and come in and ask me. We'll take a couple of minutes for you to ask me anything you want. And then I've got some very specific tips to offer you to how to make this work for you this week. Any questions at all? You have to unmute yourself. Your line is muted. *6 if you're on your phone, or unmute your microphone if you're on Zoom with me.
I have a question, Lynn. Can you hear me?
I most certainly can. Lovey, who's this?
This is Fariba in California.
Fariba, hi, honey. Yes, what's your question?
I just have a question about the text replacement.
Oh.
So is that simply because you've done it so many times it comes up automatically, or is there a setting I have to do?
Nope. Are you iPhone or Android?
I'm an iPhone girl.
iPhone. You go into your settings, you go into General.
Okay.
Okay. Scroll down and click on Keyboard. And you'll see the second thing down says text replacement.
You can create several of those, or how?
As many as you want. You'll notice when you go in there, there are already some that they've created for you, like I see it, I'll call soon. But I've created my own in here with TK. Okay. You have a few minutes to talk. CT is another one, which is please save my contact information in your phone. CT. Please save my contact information in your phone. Because we know if we call them and they don't have our number in their phone, their like is not to not answer. So I text first. LC, this is Lynn Conway. Hi, this is Lynn Conway. CT, please save my contact information in your phone. TK, do you have a few minutes to talk? Simple.
Awesome.
And Android people, you can do it too. Just Google it, which is your Android best friend. And it's absolutely possible to do on the Android phones. Because I have an iPhone, I can't tell you exactly how to do it if you're on a Droid. But it's such a helpful thing. Now, remember, if you've sent the same text to a number of people, you can also just copy and paste it. Just remember, if I had put Fariba in after the hi, hi Fariba.
Right.
If I'm sending it to Robin, I just need to remember to go back and click and get rid of the Fariba and type in Robin. Okay?
Right.
Does that help? Such a
Thank you.
useful, helpful tool. You're very welcome, Fariba. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
I want you to be able to reach people. This is not about busy work. This is about voice to voice communication. And I know some of you get so incredibly nervous about talking on the phone. Think to yourself, this is just like a call to tell your good friend you've been thinking about him. I made about a half dozen of those yesterday to friends and family members far away that I was thinking about. I sent a lot of texts also, but I just called a few people that I knew my name would come up on their cell phone to just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas day. People like to hear from you. Use your voice. Okay, any other questions about how this works or what the goal is? I hope I'm being real clear on what the goal is and why this week is so important for you to be able to utilize this precious time this last week of the year. Yeah, are we all good? No other questions?
Hi, Lynn. This is Sunai.
Oh, hi, Sunai.
How are you?
I'm great. What's your question, love?
Okay, my question is, like you were saying, that I have some people get nervous when they're talking on the phone.
Uh-huh.
And I'm unfortunately I'm one of them. I've been doing Text and Crystal a little over a year. With my busy life, I don't really, I'm not that active that I would like it to be. So would you be able to give us a sample? What would you say on the phone as a Text and Crystal consultant? What would you say and how would you say it? So, you know, I can just.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I texted you first and I said, you have a few minutes to talk. And you texted me back, oh, I'm at Macy's returning some things, but I can talk in an hour. I would just text you right back and say, perfect, I'll call you in an hour. And then when I called you, I would have also said, please save my contact information in your phone. So it's going to come up, Lynn Conway, when I call you in an hour. And because I'm going to be on the phone, I need to turn away from you. I can't look at you and also call you, okay? So I'm going to go like this. Ring-a-ling-a-ling, ring-a-ling-a-ling. Ring-a-ling-a-ling, ring-a-ling-a-ling. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. Are you going to answer?
I'm sorry, am I supposed to say
yes, you're supposed to answer.
hello?
Ring-a-ling-a-ling, ring-a-ling-a-ling.
Hello?
Hi, is this Sune?
Hi, yes, Lynn, this is Sunai. How are you?
Oh, I'm just great. I was thinking about you, and we had so much fun when we were together at Robin's party a couple of months ago, and I was just going through my notes on people, and I came across your name, and I wanted just, first of all, to make sure that you're enjoying the product that you purchased at Robin's party and to see if there's anything else you need from me, because I've made a real commitment to be of service to my hosts, my customers, and my consultants in the new year ahead. So just checking to see if there's anything I could do for you that would make your 2019 a little brighter. How does that work?
Thank you so much.
Did that help?
That was perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And the reason I think it's so important for you to have that voice to voice, you could hear in my voice that I really care about you, right? You could hear it. Can
That's
you
right.
communicate that sound in text?
Not really, no.
No, not really. No matter how many LOLs you put in there,
Emojis,
no
right?
matter how many emojis you put in there, you cannot communicate the sound of your voice. And, you know, I'm looking at you right now. I'm hearing you. You have such a sweet voice. Practice using it. I mean it.
Yeah.
Most people, when they start a business, they're afraid of the good old telephone. Practice using your voice. You'll get better and better and better at it the more you use it, and it makes a difference.
Thank you so much, Lynn. And hopefully, hope to give you a better report next year when I talk to you again.
Not hopefully, you will give me a
Thank you.
better report when we do the 16th annual. God willing, I can do the
Sounds good to me.
16th annual Golden Week call. You're welcome. Any other questions, comments, feedback at this point? Anybody else? All right, well, I am going to share something with you, a few tips that will allow you to put everything I've talked about into practice. Okay, if you're on the phone, write these down because this is what you do right now. Get your names out. You can't go into this with 2 or 3 names and go like, oh, well, I talked to everybody I know. You need a big list of names. If you're new to your business, I'm going to guarantee you that some of you have not ever made that big list of names. Any of you who have read my book, Makeup Optional, Lessons I Learned Working from Home, you know that I had a really rocky start in my business because the very first 6 people that I was sure would say yes to me about booking 6 parties, they all said no, every single one of them. And I was almost out of business, ready to quit, until my upline, Lenore, who was paying attention because I did everything she said to do, and I went to every meeting, and I showed up. I showed up in my business, but I didn't have bookings on my calendar, and I was having a heck of a time getting them. And she challenged me, and she asked how many parties I could do a week. For me, it was 3 a week. And she asked how many parties I had for the next 4 weeks. It was like next to nothing. And she challenged me to fill my calendar 3 times a week, 4 weeks out. Well, I didn't have anybody to call. So I finally made the big list everybody talks about. And I realized I knew a lot more people than I thought I knew. The people I had gone to school with, high school, college, all of the women I had taught with, all of the people that I had met once we moved to our new neighborhood. Shirt-tail relatives of mine and my husband's. I knew a lot more people than I ever thought I knew. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're new to your business, finally make that big list. In the free stuff on my website, there is a Circles of Influence page. If your company doesn't have a tool like this, go to free stuff at afreshperspective.com and pull up the Circles of Influence page. It'll give you all kinds of thought starters. If you've been in business a while, go back through your customer tickets. Get your names out. Get them in front of you. Hopefully, you write little notes on them so that you remember who that person was. But if you didn't, you can start in 2019 writing notes on your customer receipts so you remember. What did they look like? What did you talk about? All that kind of thing. In the meantime, all you need is names, and it's helpful to know where you met them. Very interesting point. I went to a small business Saturday in Rhode Island a few weeks ago, and there was a Young Living representative there. And I walked up to her table and I said, "You have thieves oil?" And she said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "I need some. I'm going to be flying a lot over the next few weeks, and I need to protect myself from all of that airborne stuff where you get sick from being on airplanes." And so she gave me her website, her personal website. I went in, I ordered 3 bottles, one for my daughter, one for my daughter-in-law, one for us. And she called to thank me for the order and find out if I needed anything else. And I was like, this lady knows how to provide service. So a thank you is always welcome, even if they ordered last March and you never got to them. Calling to say thank you and finding out how they're enjoying their product, whatever it is, and letting them know you still want to provide service for them in the year ahead. Always a great idea. Get your names out. Don't sit down to do what I'm going to tell you next without having names in front of you. Then carve out the time to do this. Is it a lot of time? No. You're going to see in a minute. It's less than 3 hours in the whole week ahead. Less than 3 hours in the entire week ahead. So you're going to carve out the time. And then I really recommend you choose an accountability partner. It can be somebody in your own company. It can be a friend or family member. It can be somebody in another company that you know and like. It should be somebody who will keep you honest. So that in the morning, you can text each other and say, okay, I got my minutes on the calendar for today. What about you? You text each other at the end of the day. Yeah, I did it. What about you? If you've chosen an accountability partner, the purpose, the reason for having somebody to work with is just absolutely so that you've got somebody to keep you honest and that they will keep honest. Okay, everybody with me?
Mm-hmm.
I need some nods of heads, some affirmation that you've got the 3 tips. That's the most important thing. Okay, now you're worrying about how much time this is going to take. You've got the week off work. You don't want to do this. Well, you know what? You don't have to worry about it because here's the deal. It's only going to take you a total of 171 minutes spread over 6 days. Less than 3 hours this week. Think about it. Less than 3 hours. 26 minutes today on December 26th. That's pretty easy to remember. Set the timer. Just say, hey Siri or hey Google. Oh wait, it actually popped up. As soon as I said, hey Siri, set the timer for 26 minutes. Okay, Siri has set my timer for 26 minutes. There we go.
I found on the web for a way it actually popped up.
There we go. Tomorrow, December 27th, 27 minutes. 28 minutes on the 28th. I'm telling you, set your timer. You don't need any more time than that. 29 minutes on the 29th, 30 minutes on the 30th, 31 minutes on the 31st. That's it. And because 28th, 29th, 30th are the Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week, you might even be able to do a pop-up party. You might even be able to meet one of these people that you're talking to for a cup of coffee and find out that they are looking for your business in 2019. They want, as Sally said, and when Harry met Sally, they want some of what you're having.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. 26 minutes today, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, a total of 171 minutes, less than 3 hours this week. What do you think? Can you do this? I'm getting a chat. Bethany says she understands, and she's saying that to everybody. Awesome. Thank you, Bethany. Thanks for chatting me up. And by the way, anybody who is actually on Zoom with me, you can send a chat message also. Questions, comments, feedback. I am going to guarantee you that if you talk to enough people, I am going to absolutely guarantee you that you will get yeses. And if you're real worried about this, use the tool that I love, the 100 No sheet. Are you seeing that on your screen? Yes, 100 no's. No is no problem. And because they say that if you hear no 100 times, you become immune to it, I wasn't willing to wait for the 100th no to begin bribing myself, rewarding myself. So you'll notice on my 100 no sheet, there is at least one reward in every row. Now, by the way, everybody, this has to be a firm no. A no thank you, not a now's not a good time, or you can call me in February, or I don't know, because I don't know isn't a no, it's a need to know more. So you take care of keeping this 100 no sheet. Look at this in positions What is that? Let's see, 30, 32, and 38. There's 2 rewards in that row. So keep a 100 no sheet and make it fun. I've had a lot of people tell me when they do the 100 no sheet that instead of getting discouraged by no's, they're working to get no's so they can get the rewards. How fun is that? And that is also, if you're wondering where all of this stuff is, right on my website. Can you see my the cover page of my website here? Anybody? Is that a yes? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Right here, free stuff, free tools, right there, free tools. All of those things I was talking about, the daily planner, the activity log, weekly, monthly, open dates, that circles of influence sheet I was telling you is right here if you haven't made your big list yet. Prospect follow-up log, survey, referrals, observation, meeting planner. Here's no is no problem, the 100 note sheet right there. And remember, I was telling you, you can sign up for Fresh Ideas, that daily dose of free inspiration in your mailbox every morning. That's right here. Sign up now. That's right there. Okay, and somebody's checked me up. From Susan, thanks for breaking it down. You are so welcome. And Teresa says, do you have a certain time of the day? Whatever time is good for you. Most people are around this week. Whatever time is good, you can send people a text. Hey, I put my phone on Moonlight when I go to sleep at night here, because there are a lot of people who text me at 9 in the morning your time, if you're on the East Coast, which is 4 in the morning here. So I don't actually want to see your text at 4 in the morning here. So I just put it on Moonlight so that when I wake up, I see your text. Any time of the day that's good for you is good. And Carolyn says, thank you for the amazing advice. Oh, Carolyn, I live to do this. I love it. Michelle, love the note sheet. It means you work in your business. Reward yourself. Oh, Kathleen, this really works. Thank you. That was Kathleen. From Monica, wonderful. Thanks. I'm looking that up later today. From Laureen, I love the daily emails. Thank you. I love doing them for you. From Annie, such a great refresher. I first met you here this time last year, and what a year it has been since deciding to start working. All caps. Love it, Annie. Congratulations. Teresa says, is your book on your site as well? You betcha, kids. Yes, my book is on my site. And if you haven't read it, even though I wrote it, I'm going to tell you, it's a good read. And you'll really enjoy it. Give me 1 second. I think you can see it's accessing my browser. It took me a second here. All right. Anyway, it's in Shop. So when you go to Shop, the soft cover book is here, but I also I recorded it. So as the author, I recorded it on CD, or you can buy it as an MP3. Either way you want it, it's right here. And by the way, if you're a leader who gets gifts for your team, I do have really discounted prices if you want to buy them in multiples. All right, let's see.
Lynn, this is Dawn again. I just wanted to say so much for this. I think sometimes we overthink things in our head and we overwhelm ourselves on our goals, and taking these minutes in our day really do matter. And I have to say, I really needed this call today with all of the stress of the holidays, and just taking a step back and having those person-to-person conversations. That's really what this business is all about. And you just gave us the perfect action plan, as you do every year. Thank you so much.
Oh, Dawn, you're so welcome. And, especially you've taken a promotion recently to a top level in your company. So there's a lot more on your plate. Narrowing down, focusing for a few minutes on providing service to the people that count on you. That's the name of the game, and I really appreciate your feedback on that, Dawn. So thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Hi, Lynn. It's Marissa. I just have a quick question.
Of course, Marissa.
I like what you said about the text and how you definitely received that better than a voicemail, because I found that last year when I did my calls, it was mostly me leaving messages and then not getting calls back. So I really like the text message. What would you say would be a great text message to send?
Oh, all I would send, Marissa, is, hi, Lynn Conway here, and I would put your name in there. Hi, Marissa, Lynn Conway here, thinking about you. Do you have a couple of minutes to talk? That's all I would say. I wouldn't mention my company. I wouldn't mention the reason I want to talk, because my reason is to say thank you. My reason is a service call. So I'm not going to give them a whole lot. I got a text from somebody a couple of days ago, and I had to scroll and scroll and scroll to finish reading it. I'm telling you, if I hadn't really cared what they were saying, I would have closed it up again. And I would have thought to myself, I'll read this later. And in text, you can't mark it unread, and there's no later. And so when I get a text like that that's a mile long, it's hard for me to even read. Short. Hi, Marissa, Lynn Conway here. Thinking about you. Do you have a couple minutes to talk? That's
Okay,
it.
thanks,
All I
Lynn.
say. You're welcome.
Enjoy Hawaii and your family.
Oh, thank you so much. Renee says, we can always do more, get stronger. I love and appreciate this reminder to be of more service to my customers. I am so in with this week's focus. Love you. Love you too, Renee. So in. Can I have a show of hands and unmute yourself? Here, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to unmute everybody. I want to know who's in. Who's in?
I'm in.
I'm in.
Awesome.
Certainly
Awesome.
I am
In.
Awesome. Will you email me and tell me that you did it and what you did? If you would do that, if you would tell me some results that I can share on our call on December 26, 2019, I would so love that. And you know, I'll put some of your results in my fresh ideas over the course of this next week. So if you would let me know how this is going for you. Oh, I'm getting all ins. I'm getting so in. I love this. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for giving me this week, with this hour of your time this week, and gifting yourself with taking this Golden Week challenge. You get me your results, and I will applaud you and publicly thank you. Everybody, I appreciate you. And I'm going to sign off now unless there's anybody who has something pressing at the end here. You have to ask.
Lynn.
Yes.
It's Michelle. I just wanted to know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
When will you be sharing the recording?
Michelle, I hear a question from you.
I'm sorry. When will you be sharing the recording for those girls that could not get on?
It should. It'll be in. It takes a minute to download into my computer.
So it'll be sometime today. Then that's no problem.
It'll be today. It'll be today, my love. Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you
Today.
so much. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, Lynn. Thanks so much.
Bye.